Hi. This meeting is being live streamed. Okay, good. I don't know why it
Right.
wasn't working the other day. Great. I'll just triple check I'm live streaming to the right place. The Threshold Project. Good. Okay.
Absolutely. I've done that before. I'm like, oh man, that wasn't
Yeah,
supposed to go there.
yeah, I've definitely done that before, for sure. Alrighty. So if you're watching the replay, guys, through the Facebook group, I really encourage you to connect in, answer all of the, just really be with us through the session. Hi, Lenore, great to see you. Because yeah, this is going to be really powerful today. And yeah, as women who work in the healing space, in the personal development space, we have a very different landscape today to being able to share this wisdom and this work with the world than many women did in years past. So as you all know, we're going to be working through the witch wound today. Has anybody done some work on this particular wounding pattern before, wound template before? Nope. Brenda, have you? Nope. Okay, Lauren has. Awesome. Yeah. What about you, Bronwyn?
Nothing formal.
Nothing formal.
No, but I know it's there, so I kind of do what I do.
Yeah, for sure. My experience with this particular wound template is that it can be very brutal when we start to unpack it. It doesn't have to be. However, what we understand to be true is that the collective trauma from the witch hunts, which spanned hundreds and hundreds of years, is very much in the DNA of many of us, especially if you have ancestry that dates back to European times, but even African. Even in Africa and in other parts of the world, there were very much, lost my train of thought, there were very much witch hunts happening then. So what I wanted to do today is just give you like a really brief history. And we're going to do this in about 10 minutes, just so we can really start to unpack all of the relevancy of, why this is an important topic for us as women in, 2023, on the internet, safely hidden behind the computer. But why sometimes it can feel like when we're putting ourselves out there, when we're sharing our truth, when we're speaking about topics that are pretty raw and pretty vulnerable, that it can often feel like, we are on the edge of our safety, our sense of safety. It's like, why is that? That's a really interesting concept. My belief and understanding of the energetics of this is because so many of us have active in our DNA, passed down through intergenerations, past life experiences as well, of the witch hunts and the persecution of women who were labeled as witches for speaking up, for being different, for having red hair, for being healers and midwives and astrologers and doing the work that we do today, right? That we do today. We were alive 300-400 years ago in places where this was happening. We would have been burned at the stake. But that's a pretty massive, goosebumps, pretty massive, or not even just burned at the stake, hung, tortured, drowned. It was truly horrendous what was happening to women who were bold enough to follow their soul's calling and who were bold enough to be different. Not only women who were, walking these paths of healers, but women who were overtly sexual or who were overtly beautiful or too tempting. And really women who were really upsetting the status quo, who were upsetting the social fabric, the fabric of the social, the social fabric that held everything together back in those days. And so it's a very important conversation to have, especially as we start really moving into the visibility piece of this project. So we're going to be talking about being seen, being visible, standing in our power, speaking our truth, being seen in our genius, really like anchoring into the things that make us different and the things that make us kooky and the things that are really unique about us, which is what I believe is actually some of the most powerful business marketing strategies out there, is to just fucking be yourself, right? Don't try to be anyone else. However, if we have this wound template kind of bubbling under the surface, passed down from ancestors, experiences in our subconscious of past lives, then it's very much, it can be to the nervous system as if we are being chased by a fucking tiger about to be eaten alive, yeah? Or have someone with a knife to our neck, or someone about to push us off the gallows, or, you know, standing on logs about to be burned. To the nervous system, it can actually have that similar kind of response. And I've worked with some women before who've even said, like, I have this inherent fear of annihilation. It's like this fear that if I speak my truth, if I be seen in my power, I'm going to be annihilated. I'm going to be taken down for that. And so when we really understand the history, yeah, it's big, right? Nearly in tears. And you've done some work already on this. Yeah. And it's all often here in our throat, in our sacral, in our solar plexus, in our root, right? And how anchored we feel in our body and in our power and in our truth. So there were millions of women over about 400 or 500 years, millions of women who were killed for this. Millions of women, millions of midwives, millions of herbalists, so much knowledge, so many women that had skills and knowledge that were literally passed down their generational line by other women and other women, right? And there was so much happening at these times. You know, there was a lot of religious uprising, you know, the rise of the Protestant church, the impact between the Protestants and the Catholics. This was all starting to happen. It was starting to upset the social fray. You know, obviously the Spanish Inquisition was happening down in Spain. And it was really this, and obviously the religious impact of, well, Catholicism in general. Like, this was very much driven by religion and by women, by men in the religion, from the religious setting, men from the church. And it's spread like a social contagion, you know, where suddenly these concepts were in every single village, that, you know, if you were a woman of power, patriarchal society, absolutely. If you are a woman helping people, helping to heal people, then you were a threat. You'd clearly made a pact with the devil to access that information and access those skills, and you were a threat. You had to be taken down. And of course, it wasn't just women who were burned at the stake and who were, you know, killed throughout these times. If you had a disability, if you were homosexual, if you were different in any kind of way, you know, the history is real. And I know I've been really submerged in it the last week, as I've been, you know, preparing for our session today. It's incredibly, I would say it's some of the darkest times in our history books, especially for women. But it's not just women as well. Obviously, men who were different too, people who had disabilities. So as we really start to tap into the energy of this particular wound, the witch wound, which very much lives in the throat chakra, very much lives in our power centers, in our capacity to speak truth, I invite all of us to really, we want to go there. We want to go to those places that have a lot of pain and energetic tension. And at the same time, create a real sense of safety in this world right now, in the here and now, in the 3D reality, 2023 that we find ourselves in. So throughout our session today, if you feel yourself getting overwhelmed, I invite you to, you know, presence yourself, looking out, finding some beautiful things that you can see, touching, you know, getting tactile and tangible with your body, just to remind yourself, I'm in a safe space. It's not the 1600s. I am safe in my body. I'm safe in my home. I don't have a mob of people at my front door. So it's like we want to anchor into both aspects of that if we can, because it's very important for the nervous system when we're working through this healing, that we remain anchored into the safety of this time. Okay. We have some midwives in this group as well, and the impact that this time had on the midwifery practice was absolutely extreme. Midwives were some of the most persecuted of women, and as a result, it led to the institutionalization and medicalization of birth that we absolutely still see today, where birth was seen as something that was not natural, and problems were anticipated before they even happened. And I believe the statistics are that, 1 in 2 women has experienced a traumatic birth, not just, a standard birth, but a traumatic birth that led to trauma physically for her. So, the knowledge that was lost at this time, the herbal law that was lost, and most importantly, the power in women that was lost, the personal power. It was for hundreds of years after this, it was very much for women to be seen and to not be heard too much, to not cause too much attention, to not be too much of a fuss. And that real devotion, well, no, I shouldn't say devotion, but the suppression of men, the suppression by men and the patriarchy, Lauren, as you mentioned, snowballed as a result, because there was no one putting up any kind of resistance. So I want to start by, we're a small group, so we can do this. I want to start by going around the circle, and I want you to use this opportunity to share, first of all, what you're noticing in your body as we're talking about this. Physically, the physical responses that you're noticing in your body. And then secondly, anything else that you feel called to share at this particular point in time as it relates. You might have had past life experiences, or you might have, you might see this particular template playing out for you in a particular kind of way. But just an opportunity to start to open up in the throat space. So Bronwyn, I'm going to start with you because you are at the top of my screen.
I knew you'd be starting with me.
You knew.
Sorry, I mentally prepared myself for that. Thanks, Ty. Straight away, it's my throat. It's always been my throat. I get like it's almost performance anxiety. Like I can feel it in my body now. Like my heart's beating and I get sweaty, and like people look at me, they think I'm extroverted when I'm at work and I'm talking, but I'm so introverted, and I feel like I don't like being on show. And this project has been amazing, but really challenging for me. And yeah, like coming out, it's been really tricky, and I'm always on the verge of tears when I'm in this group. I think every video I've been crying. Apologies, ladies, for that.
No apologies. No apologies.
Cry all the time, or watching me. But I did some past life regression last weekend, actually, and I was burnt. Like I was burnt. At the state, like I was on I don't know whether it was a cross, but I've always had a pain between my scapula, like it's like my sore point in my body. So when I have osteo or any treatment, they always work on that area. And when I came out of that life, so I was burning, like my whole body was burning when I was back in that past life. The pain in my back left me, like gone, like I no longer have it.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
So I was, attached to a stake or whatever it was. I didn't see anything. I don't know what time it was. I didn't see any of that because I was going between lives. So it was kind of like a life between lives in a way. But yeah, that's full on for me. And I'm a herbalist. So for me, it's big stuff. And I've always had this fear that I was going to hurt someone, or something was going to happen. And I feel like something's happened I had another past life too, where I was in South America. I was like the woman of the tribe, and my head was taken off. I was I don't know whether it was Peru, but I could see it was just that time. So yeah, I had another life with that, and my whole tribe and village got killed before me, and I saw them all die. It was horrific, horrible. But my head was taken as like a trophy, which was foreign too. And everyone else was burnt like a massive big fire pit. So yeah. And that was last weekend. So it's been a really interesting week, that stuff. And And every time I'm mixing up herbs, I always have that, because people have always
Mm,
called me a hippie, and I've been called a witch, and I've been called everything under the
mm,
sun, but it's always in jest. But there's always something in me that goes, yeah, I know I've done this before, like I've been here before. It's like
mm.
that recognition.
Who feels
So
that? Who else feels
it's
that?
interesting.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
It's been an
Okay.
interesting week. So thank you.
Yeah, interesting. Real theme for you this week, huh?
Yeah. So
Yeah.
perfect timing as always.
Got that, universe. Thank you.
Yeah,
It's
absolutely
time.
in tune
It's
there.
time.
Yeah. Yeah. Thanks, Tash.
Thank you. Mona, what about you?
Well, the whole experience has just been such a growth experience, and something with my human design.
Mm,
I'm like stuck at a place that I'm not supposed to push myself because there's something that I need to deal with.
mm,
And this is like really surfaced this week. Some of the girls don't know, but being that I had a near-death experience in my threshold
mm,
here,
mhm,
and I've had past lifetimes with both my astrologist and a couple psychic readers, and I was basically a witch. And for speaking and using my voice to basically
mm,
protect the women and children, the innocent people, I was, have been killed previous. So
mm,
in my local community, and my attacker is going to be released in 2 years, and then I'm saying I'm okay with it. Well,
mm.
Friday, I found my cat died. He'd been missing,
Oh,
and it was a freak thing. And the same day on the TV, I just happened to go by because my mom had it on, and there was a parole board hearing for another heinous crime. It was
mm,
a rape and a strangulation of a girl that was on a bike path, and that happened in 1998. Now the kid's
mm,
done his maximum term, and he's going to be released on Wednesday. And the
mm,
triggers of that
mm.
is what I'm going to be. I'm saying I'm okay with it 2 years from now,
Yeah.
but that other part of me, the old part of me is saying, are you really? Are you
Mm,
really okay with this? Because you sure don't seem okay with it.
mm,
Because like when my cat
yeah.
died, I didn't cry, because I
Mm,
handle everything.
mm,
It's kind of
mm,
and
mm,
that's not really part of my gene keys. I'm
mm.
not supposed to be a lord over.
Yeah. That's a protection mechanism.
Yeah, to stay
Yeah.
safe,
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. And so you've
So
felt
it's
you've experienced in this life the very real fear of persecution.
yeah,
And
so like since I turned my chapter in, it's like, oh, I gotta like so much is like what's in my head is not in my story.
mm,
Like I've
mm.
if you haven't done mine, don't do anymore. Because you're gonna there's like because someone reviewed it and they're like, you know, your story, but that isn't in there. There's
Mm,
barely a touch on a kidnapping, nothing, the
mm,
violence and the severity. And I know that it has to be in a tactful manner,
mm,
but
mm.
the severity, the way that I'm telling it, it was just like another casual day.
Yeah, I'll be hitting you back today with some feedback for your chapter, Mona, coming your way. Yeah, beautiful. Okay.
Did you already do it?
Sorry,
Have you already reviewed it?
I'm reviewing it today. It's on my list for
Don't,
today. Don't
don't.
review it. Okay.
No, because it's too vague.
Okay.
There's
So
so
you're
much
gonna
that it is in the
sure.
content.
Are you gonna be continuing to work away at it then?
Yes, I
Okay.
am.
Got it.
Yes, I have been.
Got it.
I
Okay.
have
Cool.
been. And I'm
Okay.
off of Google Docs, and now I'm on Microsoft Word. So that's
Yeah.
really helping me because I
Okay,
was
good.
struggling.
You were struggling with Google Docs. Okay.
Yes. Yes, because it's a,
Fine. Yeah.
and went from Windows 7 to Windows 11. And I'm
Mm.
not super technical, but I'm getting
Mm.
better.
Yeah, good on you,
So
Mona.
thank you so much. I know we got to get other girls. Thank you.
Alrighty.
Love everyone.
Brenda, over to you.
So I'm going to be completely honest. When you said what the theme was, I just went, ugh.
Mm,
So you have to background, you have to understand I grew up in this religious Christian
Yeah.
environment. So
Yeah.
for 48 years,
yeah.
this woo-woo stuff was like
Mhm.
bad, taboo. You don't read your
Mm.
horoscopes, you would stay away from tarot. So like that's my family. That's how right? And I do avoid I personally don't like it when
Mm.
people say like I'm a witch. Like I just don't. Like I
There's an
cringe.
aversion there for you.
Mhm, mhm.
Mm,
But
mm,
as you were speaking, as you
mm,
were talking about all of that, I had full body goosebumps. So, which
mm,
is enough of an indication for me to know
mm,
I have to go back and see.
yeah.
I will go back and ask if there was past life experiences or if there
Mm,
was anything in my history that I need to know
mm,
about. I will
mm,
go back and do that work and ask.
mm,
That's
mm,
true.
mm. Yeah, and this is where we can really see the dance between early childhood conditioning and societal, familial, religious conditioning. And, you know, you've had quite a, like, what has it only been in the last 5 years? Is that true? 4 years that
4.
you've been in this world, that you've, and I don't know if you've left that, like, what's your relationship now with the church?
I don't go.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't go to church
Mm,
anymore,
mm,
but I have a very strong,
sure.
a very strong spiritual practice with my guides. And,
Yes.
that
Yes.
to me is
Yeah.
my
And are you
spiritual meets me there.
sure? Are you one of the few in your family who have made this kind of 180 with the
Oh, yeah.
church? Yeah, yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, yeah. And what's the impact that's had on your family relationship?
They don't say anything.
Yeah.
But my healing, like my relationship with my parents is like
Mm,
totally changing. Even that's been
mm,
180. And so is that,
mm,
I've talked about this with my friends a lot. Like, is that because of my healing and the
mm,
ancestral healing that I've done? Have I
mm,
healed them to the point too where they are beginning to change? Or have I
mm,
lowered my expectations of what they can offer me and see them now
mm,
differently? So it's just an easier exchange.
mhm,
I don't know
mhm.
what it is or if it's the combination of everything, but
Sure.
my relationship with my parents is
Mm, mm.
definitely changing, and it's all good.
Yeah, beautiful.
It's all
So
good.
just be curious, and I would definitely encourage you to do that after at a time that suits you
Yep,
to
I
go back
will.
in.
I
Yeah,
will.
yeah.
I mean,
Okay.
because I can say being seen, being heard is something that I have had to work on.
Yes.
But
Yeah.
is that, from the witch wound, or is that simply from all of my
Mm,
condition? Like I
mm,
have so many
mm,
open centers,
mm,
like who knows
mm.
where that's from. So
And I dare say it will be a combination.
yeah,
Yeah.
probably.
Okay. Thank you, Lauren.
Hi.
Hi.
Oh, look, I'm just totally relating to what Brenda was saying too with religion
Mm,
and being
mhm,
raised. My mum is still very religious and she doesn't still acknowledge or accept or understand
mm,
what I'm about, what I do.
mhm,
I was the kid that used to run away from Sunday school because I just didn't want to be there, but I didn't know why. But anyway, so yeah, that's something that's always been there, that religion, that
mm,
aversion. I don't know, I can't explain it. And also what Bronwyn said, she just
mm,
brought light to something for me too that I'd never understood. I have this fear around medicating my children, like even if it's just a bit of Panadol or if it's a
mm,
vitamin or something, like I have this fear. I check the amount 15 times. I get my partner to check. It's like I've got this,
mm,
and I'm always saying to myself, what is this? Why am I so
mm.
scared? And I think I just answered that question. So thank you,
Wow.
Bronwyn.
Wow.
Um, I do lots of work with others around the witch
Mhm,
wound,
mm,
and I often feel the effects of it myself when I'm
mhm,
doing like light language activations. I've done specific longer activation sessions with people, and I have
mm,
literally had my body convulsing, like my legs
mm.
shaking. It's been the most extreme activations that I've done with people
Wow.
for myself. And
Wow.
I've had the last group one that I did, saw myself on the stake while I was doing it and surrounded by ancestors, women
Mm,
screaming and
mm,
the fire, and
mm,
they were all there to be cleared by it as well, which was
mhm,
really.
mm,
And I've had other past lives where I've been a man,
mhm,
um, doing specific healing work.
mhm,
and living in complete solitude, hiding, helping people with mental illness, like you said earlier, which I didn't really associate with the witch wound too much, but now I can. Coming to me as this man in secret to do this certain, like I actually know what it was that I used to do in that lifetime, and I'm starting to use it with people.
Wow. Oh, goosebumps everywhere.
Yeah.
That's really powerful.
Yeah, it's like a pineal gland clearing. Anyway, so I thought I've done a lot of work, but I think as soon as you started talking today, I was nearly crying. I'm just sadness is just coming out, and it's solar plexus and sacral for me. Mainly
all the power centers. And you can have a sense of how that binds up the power centers and like restricts you from can you have a sense of how it restricts you from fully like unleashing? And you're already unleashed, right? I see you. I see you promoting, right? So imagine if there's binding still happening in your system, what would be available to you if you could release that, right?
I know.
Okay.
It's still a work in progress.
And it is. It's a journey. It's a spiral, right? I wholeheartedly believe that healing is a spiral, and we will often circle back and circle further away and circle back. That's how it goes. We're never at the same time as we are always whole, we are also never fully completely integrated either. It's the polarity there.
For sure.
Okay. Lenore, I know you're driving. Are you able to talk? Looks like you're in the passenger seat. Oh, you've got your mute on, darling.
Oh,
yep,
sorry. Yeah, I can talk because my sidekick's doing the driving and I'm in the passenger seat. She's actually really enjoying listening to this, but I'm really interested. Yeah, her name's Kathy.
Hi, Kathy. Hello.
It's my Aboriginal health worker.
Hello. Amazing.
So yeah, let's go back to ancient times. We're talking past lives. So I've had a couple of Akashic readings, and then I was a high priestess in many lives, many past lives, and I was persecuted. And I was persecuted in all those past lives in ancient Egypt. I know the hierarchy used to use us not only for our powers, but for our bodies and baby machines and that kind of stuff. So there's a whole lot of lives there that have, been highly, persecuted. And I think how that manifests in this lifetime is that through that massive fear of being seen, massive fear of using my gifts. And I made a vow in my last high priestess life to never release those gifts until I feel emotionally safe. And I think that's the path I'm on right now. I'm a midwife, and I have a midwife ancestor, so I think she's like great auntie, who was caught, I think, in the 1800s in Australia doing illegal abortions.
Wow.
Yeah, and she was either to be sentenced to death or deported, and she was deported to New Zealand. And so in this lifetime there's that. And when I was a midwife, what Jessica's doing is what I wanted to do as a midwife, but I was always too scared. Like I felt like I had to do midwifery for a really long time before I could get to the point of being safe enough to go out and do it as a
private
midwife. And I never ever got that far, and midwifery in the hospital was absolutely soul destroying, and that's why I had to leave. I just could not do it anymore, especially after having my own babies. I couldn't do birth anymore because I just didn't have the energy to fight. I was always fighting the establishment in the hospital, fighting other midwives, fighting doctors, fighting management, and it was just exhausting.
Toxic.
And and soul destroying, like soul exhaustion. and I got out of there.
Mm,
But just in my general life too, like having that fear of being seen.
yeah.
And I know obviously that I was chosen, I chose to be born into the family I was born into, and then to be have soul recognition with my twin flame, because it's through the trauma of being hidden, being the hidden child, and then having to face those really deep wounds through my twin flame, that has brought me to where I am now,
Yeah.
and where I can start being seen.
Yeah. Yeah. The divine majesty of it. Hey.
Yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Okay.
it's good. Like I really, I organised my day so I could be here.
Yes. Thank you.
Clients cancelled, and I was like, okay, yep, I'm going to be here.
Yeah.
And it's really good listening to everyone else telling their story, because
Mm, we're losing you, Lenore.
telling their story.
I think we've lost Lenore. She must. Are you still there, darling? Okay, I'm going to mute you down and we'll keep on moving. All right.
It's great.
Sorry, Lenore, we just lost you there. I think you must have driven through a black spot.
I might talk.
All right. We'll have to move on, darling, so we can keep on moving with the session. But thank you for sharing what you just shared. Incredibly brutal and so like such a real threat, you know. From a midwifery perspective, I mean, you know, I had a private midwife for my birth like a couple of years ago, and she's now been deregistered. I don't know the story. Something's happened, you know, and she said she was always fighting against the system, you know.
Yeah.
And so yeah, it is I can so see that, the fight, right?
And it's
that have the energy.
It's actually picked up momentum, the deregistering of midwives in probably the past 15 years, because I was in Melbourne when I had my babies and I was doing my midwifery, and I was good friends with some independent midwives, and so I could see that the persecution, they'd stopped insuring independent midwives at that point. No one could get insurance, so they were kind of, you know, going rogue, and it was just terrible. And AHPRA are after them.
Yeah. So it is a modern day persecution, really. Very much so.
Well, modern day persecution, it hasn't changed. Just changed how they do it. They're not so obvious.
Yeah. Okay, I'm going to mute you back down and we'll keep on going. Okay. Hi, Anna. Welcome.
Hi,
Alrighty.
I was on Facebook
so you've been
live, so I've heard the whole thing. I missed
share?
maybe 5 minutes, but
okay. Did you have
I'm
you
just
share?
I was told the story the other day, a really good friend who witnessed his wife go into labor at home, and he just said she just went into a zone where she knew exactly what to do, and he had never seen her in such power. And he was just in awe. And then they transitioned to the hospital, and he said she turned into like an animal.
Wow.
That was afraid of everything, and she was hiding out from everyone. And he was the only person that she would relax around. But it was like this animalistic thing that he was. It was really interesting listening to a man tell the story, actually, because he witnessed her immense power. And I just realized my video's off. And then he saw how she couldn't maintain that in the hospital, and then the birth went haywire. Like it ended up being okay, but it completely kind of annihilated her power. One of the first things I studied when I was 22 was a diploma in herbology. And I remember sitting in my first session just with tears streaming down my face, and I didn't really understand why. Like, I just knew, I could feel in my body that it was triggering a lot in me, like a lot of knowing and a lot of pain and a lot of seeing. I'd been really sick for a long time, and there were just these simple things that if I'd have known, I wouldn't have been sick throughout my teens. And but I could almost just get a sense of the lineage and what it represented for me to be studying that, and how aligned it was with. Look, I've not been someone who's gone into past lives much, but this year I had my first kind of past life experience. I've always felt that I was hung, because I get this thing with my neck, and if anyone ever does anything with my neck, like I'm just freaked no matter where it's coming from. But yeah, it kind of came out in that I was kind of a combination of a witch and an alchemist, and I couldn't show who I was because it was at a time where it was very dangerous. And it made me, and it's so interesting how that's happening now, right when I'm doing this, and how hard it is for me to just write about what I do, like transparently, and like how fucking hard it is. And just so, and I was talking to my mom, I actually went for a walk with her, which happens rarely. I'm half Maltese, and Malta is a place where there's all these temples that revere the goddess, like full temples to the goddess, and a lot of them were built underground. I don't know if I need to do a bit more research, but a lot of them were built underground, and I've wondered if that's to represent the womb or to protect the temple. But she said now there's zero protection on those temples, like even though they're these epic places. She said anyone can go in and do anything, graffiti, like there's zero protection. And I literally, this was an hour ago, I was thinking what that represents, like, and she goes, oh, compare that. She goes, and no one wants to talk about it in Malta because the Catholic Church is what everyone is like listening to and revering. And it's so interesting how it's so intertwined with this. And then she's like, I can't remember what my mom was saying. I said, Mom, it hasn't always been patriarchal. It was. That's how we got into talking about Malta. She goes, I said, think about the places and the cultures where women are still the boss, even if men want to think they are. And then she looked at me and she goes, that's my mom. Like, my grandmother, it was like full boss, but
matriarchal,
to do it with anger and fierceness because of the world we live in. And I started kind of understanding that aspect of my ancestry as well. So I think I have a major rage that I've been feeling lately, like where I just want to cut people's heads off. Like and maybe my head was cut off or something, I don't know, but just this real rage, which I know isn't helpful to express, but I know that it's helpful for me to feel, and I know that it's bigger than me because it just is
ancestral anger.
It's like, it's so, I think it's even bigger than ancestral. I think it's like, I don't even know the word for it. I just
feminine
think it's
anger,
like this integral anger from so much suppression. But beyond suppression, I mean, suppression is a ridiculous word when you think about what's been done to feminine wisdom. So I think it's important that we sometimes feel that and like do the haka and scream and yell and just like get into power that helps us do stuff like what we're doing in this project, where we just speak, and
you're very on point with the direction of where I'm wanting to head next, because absolutely, it's when we're talking about shadow, and the shadow that often binds women the most, the shadow emotion or the shadow characteristic or the shadow archetype that binds women the most, it typically is anger, right? Because it's like, how do we express that anger? Or potentially a parent modeled a very unhealthy way of expressing anger in the past. And so we have swung either the other way, where it's like, I can't express anger, and so it just knots me up. And as a result, I can't express my passion. Anger and passion are two sides to the same coin. Or we swing the other way, or resentment, exactly. or we swing the other way where we become overtly anger, where we're like always this, geyser with energy, always angry energy pouring out the top all the time. So
Yeah, and unhelpful anger. Like sometimes
Mm.
I've noticed myself if I do let it out. So when I start talking about the melatonin gummy bears that have been, man, like if I don't rein that in, I just turn into like this fucking like a raging fire dragon. And that's not going to help. So
Yeah.
I need to pull it in, feel it, and work out how do I communicate in a way that people understand this is a highway to disaster, for humanity. And the normalizing of taking hormones when all other hormones, you've got to get prescription. Anyway, it just, don't get me started. So
sounds like a live stream topic for you, Anna.
Oh God, no, I'm not ready for that.
Okay,
I'm not ready. That's the thing. Like,
that's the
I'm not
thing.
ready. I've got to
Yeah.
be ready for something like that
Yeah.
in a way where I'm centered. I have all the scientific, I'm not just going, what the fuck?
Yeah. Okay. So everybody, I want to just ground the energy a little bit. So I want to invite all of you to come into your body and close down the eyes. I'm just going to take you through a little visualization. If it is safer for you, if you want to have your camera off, you can. You don't need to though. But I want you to just close down the eyes and take in a really big deep breath. And I want you just to bring all of what we've spoken about today into your cells, into the body. And we're going to take a little exploration down into the cellular structure of our DNA. So imagine or feel or sense that you can surrender and drop into even further into your body. Noticing the heart, the skin, the blood, the muscle, the sinew, the bone, the tissue, all of the fascia, all of the physicality that makes you human and alive. And then dropping even further down to the blood, to the cells, to the nutrients, to the proteins, to the electricity firing throughout your body and your brain. And imagining if your cells could surrender a little bit of that tension so that you can see them open. And you can drop down even deeper into the depths of your body. And it's in these minuscule places that we find ancestral trauma, past life trauma, and just being present as we are right now to the impact of the persecution of women, the witch burnings, the desecration of the feminine, and feeling that very unconscious desire to hold back for your safety, to pull back into yourself so as not to be oppressed or annihilated, to not speak up with power so as not to bring too much attention, to be the good girl or the nice girl, to placate everyone, to make everyone happy so that you're not drawing negative attention, any more negative attention. And I want you just to have a real visceral sense of how this is potentially continuing to bind you to bind you in your body. And the restriction, noticing, like for me, it's in the shoulders and in the throat. And for you, it might be somewhere else. So just really feeling that, like, how does that feel in your body? And present to the ancestors who were persecuted for their skills and their talents and their unique gifts. Present to the past life incarnations where you were persecuted for your skills and your talents and your unique gifts. All of those ancestral and past life threads all merging together to meet you right here, right now, sitting in this chair in front of Zoom in March 2023. And maybe you can feel some of that anger underneath the surface, like the rage of the feminine, the wild woman within, the banshee ready to release. Maybe that's unavailable for you. But really feeling that is a very important part of releasing the wound template that is the witch wound. Understanding how that energetic expression has bound you, has bound your voice, has bound your body, has bound your power, is a very important aspect of releasing and integrating this wound. And so we're going to move into some tapping in a moment, just to really start to get the energy shifting in this space. And so I invite you to come back to the sense of your body in the chair. And when you're ready, opening up your eyes. And I'm going to ask one of you to be my shadow. So everyone else will be muted, but one person will unmute. And who is going to be brave enough to do that and be the one? Anna, beautiful. Has everybody done tapping before? Pretty sure everyone here has. Yeah. Okay. So you go however you like. I like one hand, and then the other hand, you might do both at the same time. But my invitation is to lean in. Claire's here. To lean in to this sensation and all of the things that you might be feeling or not feeling inside of your body. If there's aversion, whatever it is, right? I'm just going to be ad-libbing as we go through. There we go. And remembering keeping your feet on the floor if you can, if possible.
Actually, Tash, I haven't done tapping. I haven't done
Okay.
tapping before.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, sure. Have you heard of it before?
Yeah, I've heard of it, and I've had it done to me once a long time ago, but I've not done it myself.
It's very easy. All right. I'll be tapping on various points on my face and my body. So it's the side of the eyebrow and the side of the eye, 2 fingers under the eye. It looks a bit silly at first, but just go with it because it's all about releasing energy. Under the nose.
Under the nose.
Top of the chin. Collarbone. Bra strap. And then the top of the head. So just watch what I do and follow with it, and we move to the other side. And as we're tapping, we're speaking, okay? We're going to be speaking and vocalizing. Tapping is very, very powerful for releasing energy and releasing emotion. So I'm going to mute everyone down but Anna, so we don't have 1,000 voices in the back. And I like to dive right into tapping. I often don't do the setup point. We will circle back to that. But yeah, for me, I just like to jump right in. Does that sound okay? All righty. Anna, you ready? Just like vocalizing after me, being my shadow. All righty. So let's get started. Here I am.
Here I am.
It's 2023.
It's 2023.
I live in safety.
I live in safety.
There's no mob at my front door.
There's no mob at my front door.
I'm not about to be killed.
I'm not about to be killed.
But sometimes in my body,
But sometimes in my body,
I have a very visceral reaction to that.
I have a very visceral reaction to that.
A sensation of being unable to be seen,
A sensation of being unable to be seen,
unable to be heard,
unable to be heard,
holding myself back,
holding myself back,
a desire not to be seen,
a desire not to be seen,
not to be seen in my power,
not to be seen in my power,
not to be seen in my gifts,
not to be seen in my gifts,
not to be seen in my genius.
not to be seen in my genius.
A fear that if I am,
A fear that if I am,
I'm going to be annihilated,
I'm going to be annihilated,
killed,
killed,
persecuted,
persecuted,
raped,
raped,
tortured.
tortured.
And this wound lives in my cells.
And this lives in my cells.
The fear of millions of women,
The fear of millions of women,
who were persecuted for their brilliance,
millions of women who are persecuted for their brilliance,
persecuted for their gifts,
persecuted for their gifts,
persecuted for their healing
persecuted for their healing,
and their skills of healing others,
their skills of healing others,
burned at the stake,
burnt at the stake,
mobbed,
mobbed,
drowned,
drowned,
tortured.
tortured.
The witch wound
Witch wound
lives viscerally in my body,
lives viscerally in my body,
holds me back from being seen.
holds me back from being seen.
I feel it.
I feel it.
I feel it.
I feel it.
I feel it in my throat.
I feel it in my throat.
I feel it in my neck.
I feel it in my neck.
I feel it in my gut.
I feel it in my gut.
I feel it in my yoni.
I feel it in my yoni.
I feel it in my body.
I feel it in my body.
Can't be too big.
Can't be too big.
Can't be too bold.
Can't be too bold.
Can't be seen.
Can't be seen.
Must be nice.
Must be nice.
Must placate.
Must placate.
Make everyone happy.
Make everyone happy.
So the attention is diverted.
So the attention is diverted.
I can see how this has played out my whole life.
And I can see how this has played out my whole life.
And for many women in my family,
And for many women in my family.
I'm very, very present to the impact of the witch wound on me right now.
I'm very, very present to the impact of the witch wound on me right now.
And as I stand here
And as I stand here
on the edge of this big cliff,
on the edge of this big cliff,
about to be asked to take a big leap
about to be asked to take a big leap
into being seen in a much bigger way,
into being seen in a much bigger way,
to being expressed in a much bigger way,
to being expressed in a much bigger way,
to being witnessed in my power,
to being witnessed in my power,
so that I can do what I've come here to do.
so that I can do what I've come here to do.
It means I need to heal this wound template,
It means I need to heal this wound template,
bring great awareness to how my personal power has been stifled,
bring great awareness to how my personal power has been stifled
from this wound template,
from this wound template,
from the bodies of all the women in my family,
from the bodies of all the women in my family,
all my sisters,
all my sisters,
all my daughters,
all my daughters,
all the grandmothers,
all the grandmothers,
all of the women
all of the women
impacted by this for centuries,
impacted by this for centuries,
impacted by the church,
impacted by the church,
by the patriarchy,
by the patriarchy,
by the collective,
by the collective,
by the collective contagion
by the collective contagion
that rampaged the world for many, many years.
that rampaged the world for many, many years.
And we're feeling the tendrils of that even still.
And we're feeling the tendrils of that even still.
So as I heal this template,
So as I heal this template,
I also heal this for my ancestors,
I also heal this for my ancestors,
for my grandmothers,
my grandmothers,
for all women
for all women
who didn't have the blessings we have today,
who didn't have the blessings we have today,
who didn't have the potential to speak and be seen like we have today,
who didn't have the potential to speak and be seen as we do today,
who didn't have the privilege to speak and be seen as we do today.
who didn't have the privilege to speak and be seen as we do today.
As I heal this in my body,
As I heal this in my body,
I heal this for all women.
I heal this for all women.
As I step forth and shine,
As I step forth and shine,
I shine for all women.
I shine for all women.
It's so much greater than me.
It's so much greater than me.
And so it is truly time
And so it is truly time
to be unexpressed, a time to be fully expressed,
time to be fully expressed,
time to release the shackles,
time to release the shackles,
shatter the beliefs
shatter the beliefs
that have been holding me back even still.
that have been holding me back even still.
As I share my story
As I share my story
and publish it for the world,
and publish it for the world,
knowing the healing that's available in that.
knowing the healing that's available in that.
I heal this witch wound template
I heal this witch wound template
across all times and dimensions,
across all times and dimensions,
across all lifetimes and ancestors.
across all lifetimes and ancestors.
No more will this hold us back.
No more will this hold us back.
No more will we shy away
No more will we shy away
from being fully seen,
from being fully seen,
from being fully expressed,
from being fully expressed,
for standing in my crazy, kooky, witchy wildness,
for standing in my crazy, kooky, witchy wildness,
knowing the more I do that,
knowing the more I do that,
the more I give permission to other women
the more I give permission to other women
to do the same.
to do the same.
Healing this wound template back through the ancestral line,
Healing this witch wound template back through the ancestral line,
forward through the ancestral line,
forward through the ancestral line,
across all time, spaces, and dimensions.
across all time, spaces, and dimensions.
And so it is,
And so it is,
and so it is,
and so it is,
and so it shall be.
and so it shall be.
Okay, ladies, I want you to take a breath and close your eyes. I want you to just notice how you feel in your body. If there's any sensations, any tingling, just make note of that. And I want you to imagine in your mind's eye, you are backstage and you're about to go and be interviewed by Oprah. You're about to go and speak about your work, your brilliance in front of millions and millions of people. And in this little movie, you walk on stage and the lights are shining and there's people in the audience. And behind those people are like millions of little lights that represent all of the people watching on their computers and their TVs and their phones, about to watch you be interviewed by Oprah. We're just going to tune in and see what's arising inside of your system. How does it feel to be about to speak so powerfully in front of so many people and share all of the brilliance that you do, all of the genius that you're here to channel? How does that feel in your system? Does it feel safe? Is there still a remnants of Does it feel exciting? Does it feel terrifying? This is where we can gauge to see where are we still at on that spectrum of being safe in visibility, safe to be fully seen. Where am I still at? And I want you to just take note of that. I want you to get that sense of what it feels like to be expressed completely, uninhibitedly expressed. To be able to take the stage and say, I am an expert in my field. I am a genius at what I do. And to so completely and utterly believe those words. There is not an ounce of holding back, not an ounce of fear around being persecuted or being killed or being annihilated, because we recognize that we live in a very different time. And that it's not the 14, 15, 1600s. It's not even thousands of years ago when that happened. It is 2023. I am safe in this lifetime. I am safe to speak my truth. I am safe to be seen. And my energy always goes first. And so just imagining like you're standing in a beautiful crystal ball. Like not a crystal ball, like a disco ball. And there's mirrors refracting back all around you, above you, to the sides, mirrors reflecting back. And so any perception of judgment, of rage, of anger, of how can she say that? How can she do that? How can she believe that? Any ounce of that is simply reflected back to the person who speaks it to you. And you are safe inside this powerful disco ball of protection. Anything that comes your way that you decide you're not going to take on goes right back, reflected right back. You don't even need to know it, but your energy system can be established this way. So just getting a full body, powerful sense of that right now. And power, that sense of power, personal power, absolute power. I feel powerful within myself despite what's happening around me. I don't need external validation to feel powerful within myself. I am inherently powerful in my system. And it was that power that terrified the patriarchy for thousands of years. I am powerful because I am woman, because I am connected to Mother Gaia, because I'm connected to my spiritual team, because I have belief in myself that makes me powerful. And what do I choose to do with that power? And feeling that activation at the sacral center and that connection at the root, plugging you into the earth, always grounded. And that sensual, sexual, creative, transformative power of the sacral. And coming up to the solar plexus like a bright sun shining. It is time for me to be seen. It's time for me to take my place. Moving up to the heart cracked wide open. No more need to protect. Knowing that your energy naturally does that. You don't need to shut down at the heart to protect any longer. And coming up to the throat, releasing anything at the throat so that you can be fully expressed. You can claim your gifts and claim your brilliance in this lifetime. It is safe to do so. And coming up to the third eye, where you can envisage the possibilities so that you can manifest them. You can expand your perception beyond the realms of what you believe is possible, probable in this world. And up to the crown, where you can open that trapdoor and extend your awareness, extend your energy all the way out, connecting in with all of your support team, plugging into all of the galactic energies, calling forth your star family if you resonate with the starseed term, calling forth your higher self or your soul, your oversoul, to support you as you take this leap off this cliff, knowing that you will always be fully supported. Knowing that it's fucking time and there is no more holding back. Radiating that power, that feminine power. You are powerful because you are woman. We are here to do big things. We can do hard things. We birth babies. We can do big, powerful, transformative things. And then pulling your energy back, calling your energy back into your centers. Feeling your body, your feet on the floor. And when you're ready, opening up your eyes and seeing the world with new clarity, with new confidence, with new possibility. Okay. Would anybody like to share? Does anybody feel like they have anything that they want to say before we complete our session today? Lauren, I'm going to go to you.
I just had to turn off my video and everything. I missed a lot of that last activation because I just had to sit on the floor and cry and cry and cry.
Yeah.
It just, it was a big release for me.
Yeah. And
So
that's sometimes the best healing that you need, that you can do, right? The tears, the release, the beast sitting in it, the fucking sitting in it.
Yeah, that's, yeah.
Okay. How do you feel now, darling? How do you feel? Good?
Yeah, I feel tired though.
Yeah. I would love, if you feel called, I would love to invite you at some stage to pop into the group, and if you're up for it, to do a light language channeling. Even just to like energetically, I don't know, just I feel like that could be really powerful if you're available and up for that. No pressure.
Yeah, no. Do you mean specifically for this or just in general?
Well, if you want to do it for this, if there's anything, I don't know, I just had that thought before that dropped in that it could be really
so did I actually
to invite you to do that. Yeah. Beautiful.
Okay. Yeah. All right.
I'll leave it up to you. Thank you.
Yep.
Who else? Bronwyn, how you feeling?
Yeah, good. That was lovely. Thank you. It was nice just to come back in and connect and,
Yeah.
bring everything in and feel nice and connected and say thank you. That was lovely.
Yeah, good. I'm
Yeah.
going to give you guys some journaling prompts as well
Yeah.
for those
perfect.
that want to go deeper. Because obviously in an hour and 10 minutes we can do a lot, but there's often a lot more. So yeah, keep your
that'd
eyes
be
peeled for
great.
that. Awesome.
Thank you.
Anna, how are you feeling, darling? Oh, sorry, you're muted. Mhm. Thank you for being my shadow. Mhm.
I really enjoyed being your shadow. It
Yeah.
actually felt very like
Yeah.
it grounded it more.
Yeah. Yeah, beautiful.
Felt really powerful, everyone. If you feel inspired to re-watch and speak the words out loud, it felt really
Yeah.
good.
I think everyone was speaking. Was everyone speaking?
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
I was so in the zone.
Yeah.
I didn't even
Yeah.
notice. Sorry.
I just don't want to like 8 people all speaking at once, which is why I get one person. Yeah, beautiful. How are you feeling now after that?
I feel a bit stirred up.
Sure. Maybe some more tapping to be done.
Yeah. And also just like when I think about my chapter, how that's been in the way, just not feeling free to just let it fucking gush out. So I don't know, it's kind of got me in touch with that. And then there's sadness, and then there's all the things which I'm sure everyone can relate with. So, what would we say?
Yeah.
Like, what would we say?
Yeah.
There was none of that shit.
Yeah.
I don't know. It's like,
what would
how
you
much
say?
of a different world? Like, I want to live in that world.
Yeah. Yeah.
You
and you know how we create that world?
We be that
We
ourselves.
be that, and we model that. And we deal with the waves that come as a result, like what we put out there will often trigger energetic waves that we have to deal with and that we have to hold. And that's why we don't be that, because we're afraid that whatever comes back our way, we can't handle.
I suppose it's that knowing how insidious that poisoning has been, and that even other women are poisoned, like, and shut down other, like, I think when you get and feel, and look, this isn't an excuse, but when you get and feel how much the world, we think that we're heading towards equality. I don't agree. I actually don't agree. I think we're in a really fucked up place right now. So I don't want to be negative, but so when I think about speaking out, I know I'm going to get attacked by women.
Yeah.
And I think that's the hardest thing for me to handle, and to anticipate. So I think, like,
it's always very powerful to recognize as well that anyone's trigger is always a reflection of their own shadow, whatever it is that they are rejecting about themselves or avoiding or denying. And that's why women get upset and triggered at another woman's power or another woman's overt sexuality or another woman's whatever, right? Because it's like, I can't have that for myself. I don't let myself have that. So anytime I'm triggered by someone else being that, that's really what's going on. Or like even a woman just standing in her power, and how many people get triggered by women saying, I make millions of dollars, right? It's like, because they, for whatever reason, that shadow is there.
Yeah.
Thanks,
Tosh.
How are you, Claire? I know you popped in at the end. Were you able to watch any of the beginning bit on Facebook? Great.
Yeah, I watched the whole thing. I just couldn't find the link. Sorry.
Okay, got it.
Yeah, that's pretty big for me. I think, as you know, Tash, I still also feel that I have a predator on my back. So this is huge for me. And I honestly I don't know how to shake that fear, because it is in my opinion valid for me and my kids. So it's hard for me to reconcile, when we're talking about it being 2023, that we are safe.
Yeah.
because I don't feel that.
Mm.
So some more work for me to do there, but so
Mm.
it's this constant thing for me about acknowledging the fear that I have, because it is coming from a place that's protecting me. But so yeah, having discernment, I suppose, and I still feel that I am putting myself and my kids in harm's way in doing what I'm doing, but I am going to do it anyway. Because it is bigger than me, and I fucking hope that one day I don't come back and regret that. Yeah, so that's lots more for me to work through.
Yeah.
And sorry, you go.
I was just going to say, feels really powerful and strong at the moment that, you know, we are all energetically, spiritually, so much more powerful than we actually realize that we are. And you putting yourself and your children inside that bubble of protection on a daily basis, recognizing that the frequency that you hold can be powerful enough that it's like Teflon, right? And I totally understand that it is for you. There's a man here in the same place that you live in, not the same, the same city, who is very much a threat. And I can't imagine that kind of real fear. But anchoring into that power that you and your children have as well,
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I think that the thing that you're talking about, the mirror, like being a mirror for other people, like this is something that I see in my everyday, is all of these women around me who are stuck in situations that I can see, and me being vocal about what's going on, unlike most other people who don't do it like I'm doing it, and won't shine a light on this. And yeah, so many people, so many women who I know are in this, and seeing them see me and run from me and isolate, because there's so many women that can't face to look at what I'm doing because it is their situation. So that was really hard for me to deal with initially, because it was really isolating, and I already had no one. That's what I felt. But now I realize actually it's not about me. Well, it is about me, because it is about what I'm putting out there, but it's about what's going on for them. And so I can deal with that better now. But it breaks me in that, just, how fucked up we are still, as Anya said, like the system and where we're at as females, and how much control and power there is over us, and how many women that impacts just blows my mind, which is why I'm doing what I'm doing.
Yeah, it is why you do what you do, and why you are doing what you're doing.
Yeah.
And, it's like, what's the world you want to create for those women? That's what you're anchoring into, that's what you're communicating. That's what you're saying, this is possible, and the more we come together, the more possible that becomes.
Yeah.
And it's hard to be a trailblazer and to go first. It is. But you're here to do that. You know that. You're here to guide that. You're here to be that. So yeah.
And I do really, really feel that. I feel that, and I believe it, and I know it to be true. And I know that I have the power to do that.
Yeah.
But that's scary for other people around me.
Yeah. And also remembering that, we all have access to our own personal power. And it is, at the end of the day, it's also a choice. I choose not to be identified by my past. I choose not to be by Lauren. I choose to embody the new, right? It is a choice that we all make who have experienced big trauma, It's very easy to stay there. It's very easy to be defined by that, and to be the victim of our trauma. And so you've made that choice, and you're modeling to that, to the women around you, that it is possible to make that choice. Yeah. And that you decide, you determine who and what defines you. It's big stuff. Thank you. And we've all got you, haven't we? We've all got you. Brenda, how you feeling?
Actually really good. So the
Okay.
beginning part of that meditation was completely physical.
Mm,
My arms and legs I couldn't stop moving. And that doesn't happen to me very often. I'm
there you
usually
go.
very quiet in meditation and just
Yeah.
complete, in my head. And this time was, that's not true. I'm not always in my head, but this time was definitely, there was stuff moving, the yawns, the shaking, there was stuff moving. And then when you got to envision the Oprah, I saw myself as a third person, simply cool, calm, collected, walking out there to meet with her and just sitting like we're having a cup of coffee and a conversation.
Yeah.
And even when you said all the people watching, like that didn't even faze me. So that was like definitely
That's big.
not what I was expecting. No, not what I was expecting, because I mean, I'm in Toastmasters simply to learn how to speak in public without being, so even talking in front of 8 people gets all my anxiety. So that was really,
I'll be really interested to hear how you go with your next public speaking gig.
Yeah.
Even if it's at Toastmasters, let us know.
Yeah.
Let us
So that
know.
was pretty amazing. So thank you. I
Thank you.
was not expecting that.
Thank you. Beautiful. Mona, over to you. Final one.
There we go. Yeah, I can really relate to Claire's situation, because, my kidnapper, attacker, is coming up for parole, and I say that, I'm okay with it. And then my family, my mother and sister in particular, I'm feeling their nervous energy. And then from the past lives, having been killed a couple times, burned, beheaded, in that, like I've learned from the RTT, that's what is normal for me, to the path of the hard way, because of the past conditioning. So this is like a real challenge, and this has like been a real test, so
Big time.
but the tapping was phenomenal, and I'm going to be going through this whole thing again, because I got a lot out of that, and I suggest anyone in the group to listen to it again. And
you always get more the
tapping,
second time.
Tapping is something that like Lenore doesn't know, that you don't just do it one time and it work. It's for good forever, like RTT, rapid transformational therapy.
Yeah, it takes
and that's
time.
what I used for the public speaking, so that I have gone in front of the legislature and in front of hundreds and thousands of people. You put yourself in a hypnotic state, which you can do. I'm not that far along, but Tars can. And it just like, while you're sleeping, it's saying that you're super powerful, and your words come out, and you don't even have to have a script.
It's incredibly
speak
powerful.
Intelligently, and you get to the heart of what needs to be said without all the fluff. So
we'll
very
be doing
powerful.
an RTT. We were meant to do it the last time, but that was the session I had to cancel. So the next session, the next session, I know Lenore was like, I thought we were doing the witch wound later. That's going to be, we'll do a big RTT wiring in May, I think, or maybe it was, I have to have a look. It'll all be about being visible. It'll be a different take on the work that we did today, but you will all receive that recording of the session, of the transformation session. And I am going to be inviting all of you to listen and anchor into that for 28 days in the lead up to our launch. so that by the time our launch hits, we're energetically, subconsciously, nervous system fully online. It's incredibly powerful. Yeah. Oh, sorry, Mona, you got muted again. Oh, you're muted again. There you go. Nope. All right. I think you must have double there. That's it. You're good.
Phenomenal book writers.
Say that again.
Phenomenal book writers.
Yeah.
Chapter writers.
Book writers. Absolutely. Thank you, my loves. Thank you for being present today. Keep your eyes posted in the group, because I'm going to put in a metabolize post, which will have some journaling prompts, and it'll also have, it's not an RTT, but it's a hypno journey to releasing vows from past lives. So I really encourage you to do that as a way to metabolize our session today. Awesome. Mwah. Take care, everybody. Bye.